Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I am making Russian Shchi, which is a sour cabbage soup, and I'm gonna use my grandmother's recipe and all the root vegetables she used in this recipe back in the days. As you might not know, Shchi is a Russian-style cabbage soup when sauerkraut is used instead. The soup is also called sour Shchi. Traditionally, Shchi appeared in Kievan Rus around 9th century, soon after cabbage was introduced from Byzantium. The recipe, however, differed in many aspects and was not popularized until late 16th century. It was very popular among commoners and nobles as well. But first, we have to make a beef broth. I'm gonna use 1 pound beef shank for the broth and 2 pounds of sirloin or flank steak meat to be added to the soup later. I am using 8.5 quarts pot, guys. It's a big pot. I'm gonna fill it up with 5.5 quarts of water. I'm gonna place it on the stove to boil. Let's see what else we will need to make our broth flavorful. I'm gonna use 1 parsnip. And I'm not gonna peel it, just gonna remove that part what has a little bit of dirt. I also gonna use 1 carrot, and notice guys, I do not remove any skins from any of the root vegetables that I used primarily just to flavor the broth. So keep the skin on the onion because it's gonna make your broth very pretty color. I'm also gonna use this vegetable, which is a celery root. I'm gonna use root for the soup, and this ants I'm gonna use for the broth. As far as the spices, I'm gonna use 2 bay leaves, 1 chili pepper. I'm gonna use some coriander seeds and some assortment of peppercorns. Then I'm gonna use 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and a little bit of dry herbs. Right before your boiling process have started, we need to remove that foam that appears on top of your broth, and it's important that you do it right before the boiling point have started. If you missed it for some reason, you can always add half a cup of cold water and the foam will float to the top again, and then you can remove it. And then you're gonna throw all your vegetables that are used to flavor your broth, and notice they're all being washed. I have sometimes people commenting, oh, you're throwing dirty vegetables in your soup. No, they're not. I wash them all very well, and I'll remove the parts that had a little bit of dirt on it. So just put all your spices in there, then you're gonna close the lid, and the broth is gonna be simmering for 1 hour. There are different varieties of root vegetables that are usually used in this soup. So I have 1 celery root, I have 2 carrots, 1 is going to be used for sauté, 1 is going to be used in a soup. I have 1 parsnip that's going to be used in a sauté. I have 2 turnips, those are purple turnips. And I also have 4 to 5 medium potatoes. I have 1 onion. And by the magic of the camera, everything just gonna get peeled. And to prevent discoloration in your root vegetables, you need to keep them in the water until they are ready to be chopped for your soup. For the soup, we're also gonna need 4 cloves of garlic. We're gonna need 1 tablespoon of tomato paste and 1 cup of tomato puree, which I made myself from fresh tomatoes. We're also gonna need 1 bunch of dill and 1 bunch of parsley. And here's the star of our soup, which is a sauerkraut. In Russian, you say it kapusta. Sauerkraut is a finely cut raw cabbage that has been fermented. For our sauté, I finally grated 1 parsnip and 1 carrot. I finally chopped 1 onion. We're also gonna use that cup of tomato puree in it and that tablespoon of tomato paste. We're also gonna mince 4 cloves of garlic, and I usually use that rockin' garlic mincer. I love it so much. I think I use it in every single one of my videos, but it does the job well. To make our saute in a large skillet, add about 3 tablespoons of cooking oil, and I'm using sunflower oil. Add your chopped onions, and we're gonna saute them until they're translucent and slightly browned, which will take about a couple minutes. Then add your garlic, cook it for another minute or so. Then we're gonna add all our vegetables. We're gonna add 1 shredded carrot and 1 shredded parsnip. Just everything is gonna get mixed, and we need them to sweat out a little bit, so close your lid and help them to sweat out for about a minute or a couple minutes. After that, open the lid and see if your vegetables are softened a little bit, and then add 1 tablespoon of tomato paste and 1 cup of tomato puree. Everything is just gonna get mixed and also gonna get steamed a little bit. So close your lid, steam it for a couple minutes, then add your seasoning. Add a little bit of crushed black pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt, and maybe just a little bit of dry herbs. Our saute is ready, and it's gonna make a very nice base for our soup. Then I'm gonna cut all my root vegetables. First I'm gonna cut the carrots, and the cut I'm using for the soup is called bâtonnet, which is a 6mm stick. So it's a little bit thicker than your julienne cut, but I think it's gonna look very nice in a soup, and this way your vegetables are gonna be more visible. The same way I'm gonna cut my turnips. Turnip is a root vegetable, also refers to rutabaga, and this vegetable has an amazing taste. Tastes somewhat like a potato, but has a little bit more flavor and used a lot in soups. The next vegetable I'm gonna cut is a celery root, also known as celeriac. It is also a root vegetable. It has a kind of a licorice taste to it. And the next vegetables I'm gonna cut, of course, the potatoes. And I'm using the Yukon Gold potatoes because I think those hold on to their shape very well and will be better in the soups. I'm also gonna chop some parsley and dill, and those are gonna be added to the soup at the end. Cilantro is not a very common herb that is used in Russian cuisine, so we're just gonna skip that for now. Let's see how our beef stock is doing. It's been a little bit over an hour and our meat is completely done, and as you can see, your beef stock is looking absolutely amazing. So we just need to remove all the meats and discard all the vegetables that we used to flavor our beef stock. We also gonna strain it because, as you can see, I added a lot of peppercorns. You don't want to be chewing on them when you're eating your soup. You can either use 2 huge bowls or another pot to strain your soup, and all this is going to be returned back to the pot. And my family knows when this pot comes out and I'm making something in it, they're eating it for at least 5 days. Add your saute to the beef broth and bring it back to boil. And when it boils, we can add all our root vegetables. So close the lid, put your steam escaper, and as soon as it's churning like mine, it means your soup is boiling and we're ready to put all our root vegetables. Add your carrots, celery root, add your turnips, mix it around. Then we're gonna add our potatoes. And here goes in our sauerkraut. Then you can close the lid and cook it for about 30 to 35 minutes or until your vegetables are tender. Now our meat has cooled down. Let's see what we can use here in the soup. Beef shanks I'm not going to use as part of the meat. It's part of the leg, has a lot of muscles in it, and you need to cook it for a long time. What I am going to enjoy is a bone marrow, and it is quite a treat for me. But I am gonna use the meat. I think I used the flank steak for the broth, so that meat is very tender and can be used in the soup. Halfway through the cooking process, we're gonna return the meat back to the soup, and all we're waiting on is for our root vegetables to get fork tender. So keep checking on them and make sure they are done. before you can enjoy your soup. And at this point you can adjust all your seasonings. So we're just gonna put a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Then taste your soup, and if it needs more salt, you can add just a little bit more salt. And if it needs a little bit more black pepper, you can add more black pepper. Then we're gonna add all our fresh herbs, our dill and parsley. Close the lid and let the soup stand for about 10 minutes until you can serve it. After all the flavors have married in our soup, we can serve the bowl. And look how beautiful this soup looks. First of all, it has so much flavor, and second of all, that rich broth adds so much taste to the soup. Traditionally, she served with a side of sour cream and a sprinkle of green onions. And to add a little bit more authenticity to the soup, I'm gonna taste it with a wooden spoon. So I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye!